Hello seekers of the mystery and welcome to Mystery Served. And if in the past humanity has been visited by aliens who passing through our galaxy, they saw a very promising planet, fertile and suitable for the development of life. Maybe they overlooked the fact that human being did not exist yet. It may be that they passed to the age of the dinosaurs or even earlier, but they saw that it was a potential planet. What could these extraterrestrials have done? Sit down, a way to see how life would have developed, intelligent life. I mean, or leave hidden probes for the solar system, or even closer to our planet Earth and making sure these probes were activated when this intelligent life appeared. This seems like part of a science fiction movie or one of the best books by Isaac Asimov. It's an idea that is getting shape in the scientific community, and the researcher has written a scientific article on all these and talks about orbital objects, also called quasi-satellites, small rocks that have an orbit equal to that of the Moon, but they are located a little closer to the Earth. These objects are very, very interesting and are suspected of hiding alien probes and spying on us. You see, co-orbital objects, as we were already saying, they are miniature satellites, many times formed by rocks or metals which have a terrestrial orbit and their trajectory similar to that to the Moon. So far 9 of these rock bodies have been discovered, but over time, now we know they exist. Science astronomers will look for them and find many more. It was such a James Binford who published the mysterious article in the Astronomical Journal in which he says that these rock bodies, which are hard to find, could be the perfect place for an extraterrestrial civilization to have placed space probes. Co-orbital objects come very close once a year. Of these 9, there is at least one which we will talk about later, which is getting closer. Its distance is extremely short and it stands between the Moon and the Earth. A candidate object to be able to spy on all of the habits and customs of our civilization or civilized, depending on your point of view. Furthermore, these co-orbital rocks are filled with materials that could be used by these probes to repair themselves or even build others. The closeness that their orbits have to the Earth, to the Moon and Sun, would give them energy with a system similar to the solar energy of the planets, and therefore they could resist indefinitely. They are solid masses, they are small moons in miniature, will remain there forever. Mr. Binford says in the article something that seemed to at least curious to me. Says that the program involves SETI include, yes, the SETI, which is dedicated to the search for extraterrestrial life. He never even suspected the possibility that these rocks that run around us could have an extraterrestrial origin. That is to say that this possibility has never been studied or even taken into consideration. For this, Binford openly warns that these alien probes are cult spies. The quasi-satellites could have been there since immemorial ancient times even, as I said before, from before human civilization. This is why I said before that it is here to leave probes that waiting for civilization to grow. Clear, we will be talking about an alien civilization that saw its probes for each of these systems it encounters. They must have a registry of many systems, many plants with life chances and absorb information in a brutal way. Imagine that this is a catalog of the thousands of inhabited planets with intelligent life. What would it be for this civilization? I happen to think of many things. First, to absorb the source of the planet they need or is the most close. Second, to study the level of evolution of the beings that live in these planets, to see if someone does not overtake certain limits and does not represent a threat to this alta civility. Third, to learn from all of them because knowledge is power and the knowledge of 10,000 or millions of civilizations could be the salvation of one of them only. But let's continue with what Binford gave them a name. He called them Lurkers, which means something like roamers, voyeurs, or occult observers. Lurkers. It seemed interesting to me that this term was coined for spies of this civilization that we could also call the Lurker civilization. However, this is already a license that I cannot take lightly. I'd like to call it this way, but this is not the case. Finally, this researcher, Mr. Binford, openly proposes to study the quasi-satellites, starting with one in particular, so-called 2.016-HO3. Why start with this? Because according to Binford and the scientific community, this is the closest to Earth and a very old story may resonate right now. Linked to Nikola Tesla relative to the Black Knight, like a dark satellite that seems to emit radio signals studied by NASA, with studies quickly concealed to then present strange theories, as if with some kind of astronaut's thermal blanket that took strange shapes. The Black Knight is one of the great mysteries of the probes of possible alien origin that are orbiting around our planet. He is in relationship with Nikola Tesla because in one of these diaries he said he had intercepted radio signals coming from something with the appearance of the Black Knight, according to his description. It is also said that a secret operation was conducted during the Obama administration to destroy this object. However clear, we don't know if it is true or a fake news of the internet. Finally, as Binford said, you need to study 2016-HO3 because it is the closest to Earth. He proposed analysis of the electromagnetic spectrum of visible light to observe the peculiarities of this rock. He also proposed to create probes to be sent there to see if there are these objects, these lurkers. What I personally think is that the interest of this astronomer is very high. It's like saying, we happen to find out, let's all go very clearly. Why is there so much interest in this if it is simply a scientific article that talks about hypotheses? Why we already talking about building probes to visit these quasi-satellites? I say my opinion, I see it feasible, but I see it even more feasible on the moon. On the fact that an alien civilization has built a place of espionage there on the hidden face of the moon. You know, there are indications that the moon is not exactly as they told us. Of the fact that there are particularities that have been studied by Mikhail Vesin and Alexander Sherbakov, two Russian scientists who spoke about very strange things. For example, it seems that the craters of the moon are not well proportioned. as if huge meteorites fill living a cavity does not match what one would expect. There should be a huge crater. There are all the craters like on the flat surface. Or, for example, there once, after crashing a probe, the moon sounded like was metal, a metal material under the surface, like a bell which vibrated for a long time. But we have talked about this before. We will not now begin to tell the mystery of the moon. We have already made videos on the observation of very strange luminescences that come out of craters to go to others. This is why I see it feasible that even the moon is one of the places of the Lurkers. Vigilance and espionage for unknown reasons of a civilization passing many millennia ago that perhaps planet is of life, and this is another hypothesis. Also a fairly good land, a planet with potential but lifeless, and launched small capsules containing DNA and thus generate life to then return after a long time and create human beings starting from hominids. These are my conjectures, but also of ancient civilization, but this another thing. Finally, I hope you enjoyed this mystery. And now, you already know, it's up to you to investigate. Do not believe anything or everything at the same time, and as always, I send you a warm hug and see you to the next video from The Mystery Served.